untuk di-sharing hari ini mengenai ways to resolve phonological processes. Nanti insya Allah akan disampaikan oleh Kak Sayyidah dari Sparkle Clinic. Monggo untuk waktu dan tempat dipersilakan untuk Kak Sayyidah.
Halo, terima kasih Kak Pebi.
Pindah sini Kak apa?
Halo semuanya, saya Sayyidah Masri dan pada petang ini saya akan mempresent topik tentang ways to resolve phonological processes. Jadi dalam presentation ini saya akan berbicara dengan bahasa Inggris dan juga bahasa Melayu atau bahasa Indonesia sikit-sikit. So let's start. So before starting the presentation, I'd like to kenalkan diri saya. Saya Sayyidah Masri dan the kids at Sparkle will call me Kakak Sayyidah. I'm a speech and language therapist at Sparkle Therapy Center and saya baru mulai bekerja di Sparkle Therapy Center pada tahun ini, bulan Januari. Dan saya baru graduate from University of Sheffield taking the course Speech and Language Therapy last year. Jadi saya ada minat untuk bekerja with children with speech, language, and communication difficulties. And outside of work, saya suka running, saya suka journaling, and also cafe hopping. Jadi before memulakan presentation saya akan menghuraikan sedikit-sedikit about the content and what I'm going to talk about for today. So the first one is, the first one I'll be talking about important terms that you need to know throughout the presentation. And the second one is types of phonological disorders. And the third one is types of speech sound disorder. And then the fourth is I will be talking about speech and language therapy approach to intervention, which include minimal pairs, core vocabulary approach, and phonological awareness. So these are the important terms yang saya akan huraikan dahulu sebelum memulakan presentation, as I will be talking about this further in the next few slides. Jadi, first and foremost, I will talk about phonology. So, apakah itu phonology? Phonology itu adalah branch of linguistics that deals with systems of sounds. Jadi, when we talk about phonology, we talk about sebutan huruf dalam bahasa. And the aim of phonology is to demonstrate the patterns of distinctive sound contrast. So sound contrast bermaksud perbezaan sebutan bunyi huruf dalam bahasa. And to explain the ways speech sounds are organized and represented in the mind. Jadi contoh dalam ilmu fonologi ini adalah seperti mengetahui perbezaan antara sebutan bunyi huruf T dan sebutan bunyi huruf yang lain. Next one is phonological processes. So, phonological processes ini adalah patterns of sound errors that typically developing children use to simplify speech as they learn to talk. Jadi, apabila kanak-kanak bermula untuk belajar bercakap, mereka akan membuat sebutan bunyi huruf yang berkemungkinan tidak betul. Dan sebutan bunyi huruf ini boleh dipanggil, sebutan bunyi huruf yang tidak betul ini boleh dipanggil sebagai phonological processes. Dan phonological processes ini pernah dibincangkan oleh Kak Dayana Dan salah satu contohnya adalah backing, seperti substituting when the word is dog, the dog ditukar kepada gog. So that is backing. The sebutan bunyi huruf itu dibawa ke belakang. Dan ada contoh yang lain adalah seperti fronting. So fronting adalah bunyi huruf yang sepatutnya di belakang, seperti bunyi huruf kerusi dibawa ke hadapan, menjadi terusi, dan yang lain-lain. Jadi yang seterusnya, saya akan explain about the term phonological disorder. So phonological disorder is a phonological process which persists beyond the age when most typically developing children have stopped using them. Jadi, or when the process used are much different than what would be expected. Jadi, for example, jika anak itu, for example, for the process fronting, it should stop around 3.5 years old. Jadi jika kanak-kanak itu berumur 4 tahun dan dia masih ada masalah fronting, for example, if dia masih cakap, oh terusi, instead of kerusi, then that is considered as phonological disorder karena ia sudah melebihi umur yang sepatutnya dia berhenti untuk membuat kesalahan tersebut. Jadi, those are the terms that is important to know. It may be a bit hard, but hopefully as we talk through it, we can understand about it more. So before I talk more about resolving the phonological process, I would like to talk more about speech sound disorder, so that we are aware that there is other speech sound disorder that is caused by so that we are aware that phonology is not the only speech sound disorder. So speech sound disorder involves difficulty with perception, articulation, motor production, and phonological representation. And speech sound disorder is an umbrella term. So dalam speech sound disorder, there is several subcategories. And this is how it looks like. Jadi masalah fonologi adalah termasuk dalam speech sound disorder. Tetapi di bawah speech sound disorder, there are other problems too. There are other problems that is included in speech sound disorder, such as motor speech, which includes childhood apraxia of speech, childhood dysarthria, dan articulation impairment. Tetapi dalam presentation ini, I will be focusing more on the phonology side, which is a branch of linguistics, and it is related to sebutan bunyi huruf dan perbezaan sebutan bunyi huruf. Jadi, next one, I will talk more about the types of phonological disorder. Bagi phonological disorder, there are two types. Satu adalah phonological impairment. Phonological impairment bermaksud there is a pattern-based error. Dan yang kedua adalah inconsistent speech disorder. Dan ini bermaksud there is inconsistent pattern of error. Jadi jika Anda berasa macam confused, I will elaborate this further. So phonological impairment, as I mentioned, is a cognitive linguistic difficulty with learning the phonological system characterized by pattern-based error. Jadi, apakah itu pattern-based error? Pattern-based error is when the child makes error and there is a pattern that can be seen in the and there is a pattern that can be seen with their speech errors. Jadi, for example, if child A menyebut kunci as tunci, jadi that is considered as fronting. Ke diganti dengan te. And then if the child sebut kerusi as terusi, ke diganti dengan te. So that is again fronting. And then if the child say gembira instead of gembira, so the sound ge diganti dengan de. So there is a consistent error, and which is called fronting. So all of the back sounds such as ke and all of ke and ge diganti dengan te and de. So if a child is observed to make this error, which is a consistent pattern-based error, this is considered as phonological impairment. And then moving on to the next one, inconsistent speech disorder. Jadi, inconsistent speech disorder is a type of phonological disorder where children have at least 40% of the words produced inconsistently. Jadinya contohnya for child A, the error yang the anak itu buat adalah inconsistent. Kadang-kadang ia adalah error A, tapi kadang-kadang ia adalah error B. So, jadi kita boleh fahami konsep ini dengan contoh-contoh yang saya telah sediakan. Jadi, for example, in this case, child A, in terms of pronouncing the word green, ada masanya dia pronounce green as jin. Jadi, ini adalah error cluster reduction and affrication. Tapi kadangnya when he is asked to say green, he will say brin. So kadang-kadang he will make fronting errors. So there is an inconsistency in the errors that the child is making. And this is called inconsistent speech disorder. And I can give another example. So another example is glasses. When the child is asked to say glasses, kadang-kadang dia cakap gases. So ini adalah cluster reduction. Tapi ada masanya when he is asked to say glasses, dia akan cakap brasses. So this is considered fronting and gliding. Again, there is an inconsistency in the errors yang kanak-kanak itu buat. Jadi this is considered as inconsistent speech disorder. So after talking about the types of phonological impairment, there is two. Satu is phonological impairment, which is pattern-based error, and dua is inconsistent speech or speech disorder, and this is inconsistent pattern error. Saya akan cakap more about the treatment. So there's actually a lot of different types of approaches that a speech and language therapist can make to treat this disorder. Tetapi pada hari ini saya akan briefly talk about these three approaches as they are more simple, easier to understand, and easier to apply. So the three approaches that I will be talking about will be satu, minimal pairs approach, dua is core vocabulary approach, and tiga is phoneme awareness. Firstly, I will start with minimal pairs approach. Jadinya, minimal pairs approach means that ia adalah apabila kita menggunakan sepasang kata daripada bahasa yang sama dibezakan oleh satu bunyi kecil yang membawa maksud dua perkataan yang berbeza. Jadi it may be hard to understand, but slowly with examples hopefully dapat difahami. Jadi contoh minimal pairs would be, for example, in a scenario where kanak-kanak itu substitute the sound s to bah. Jadi dia buat stopping. Dia cakap baya instead of saya. If a speech therapist would be interested to use minimal pairs, then they will pick the sounds and contrast it with the sound bah. Jadi untuk resolve the phonological process, the speech therapist will ask the children to practice with minimal pairs using these words, suka dengan buka in Malay. And for example, if you want to do the therapy in English, you can use the following minimal pairs like sun and ban, sat and bat. Jadi the main objective of minimal pairs is supaya the child will faham that ada perbezaan antara bunyi huruf tersebut adalah berbeza dengan bah. And by practicing minimal pairs, the child will be more aware and lebih faham bahwa sebutan huruf yang berbeza akan membawa makna perkataan yang berbeza. Jadi suka tidak sama dengan buka. Sun is not the same as ban. So if the child practices more with these words and contrasts different words with different sounds and different meanings, they can be more aware of the differences dalam sebutan bunyi huruf dan makna perkataan tersebut. Jadi something that I want to talk more about minimal pair is that minimal pair ini adalah very effective. Tetapi ia ada its own disadvantage too, sebab minimal pair is very limited dan terhad jika ingin digunakan dalam bahasa Indonesia ataupun bahasa Melayu, sebab tidak ada banyak minimal pairs yang dapat dihasilkan dalam bahasa Indonesia atau Melayu. Jadi, it is a method that you can consider to use with your child, and it would be beneficial, especially if you do it in English. Tapi if it's in Malay or Indonesia, you can try, but it may be a bit more difficult. So if not, you can consider other approaches as well. So for example, if you have a child that prefers to speak in English, this therapy could potentially be more appropriate for the child, because there's a lot of resources that you can find online in regards to minimal pairs. Then minimal pairs ini juga is proven effective. So activity ideas for minimal pairs, there's two. Firstly, there's say and dot. Jadi boleh list down the minimal pairs and then practice it with the child. So if the child says, sneeze boleh di stamp, and then sneeze boleh di stamp. And then another activity idea for minimal pairs is boleh say and trace. So you can ask the child to say it first. You can ask the child to say it first and then trace. Lepas itu, when they arrive to the second pair, then you can ask the child to say it again so that the child will know the differences between the two perkataan. So I will be talking about minimal pairs briefly only, as I will be focusing more on the next two treatment approach, which is the core vocabulary approach. So core vocabulary approach is suitable for children with inconsistent speech disorder. Jadi ini adalah something yang saya sudah terangkan tadi, in which inconsistent speech disorder is when the child makes inconsistent pattern of error. Jadi when there's one word and then the child makes one error, and then when the child is asked to say the same word, kanak-kanak itu akan produce a different error. So there is an inconsistency. So when there's inconsistency, this treatment of approach can be more appropriate for the child. So apakah itu core vocabulary? Core vocabulary adalah kosakata yang penting dan bermakna. Dan in this approach, it focuses more on the systematic practice in saying the words and saying the sounds and in drill format, which I will elaborate more after this. Jadi, how does core vocabulary approach works? So, how this treatment approach work is, awal-awal kita perlu memilih 50 patah perkataan yang bermakna dan berguna bagi anak itu. Jadi, cara kita memilih patah perkataan ini, kita boleh berbincang dengan ibu bapa anak itu atau guru-guru anak itu, dan kita boleh list down apakah perkataan yang anak itu paling banyak guna atau patah perkataan yang mereka paling minat. Selepas itu, after you list down 50 patah perkataan tersebut, Anda boleh berlatih untuk menyebut 10 patah perkataan tersebut. Anda boleh mengambil 10 patah perkataan itu dan practice 2 times a week. And then jika sebutan huruf dalam perkataan itu betul, Anda boleh move on to the next set of words. Jadi, I have a question before we move on to the next one. In the comment box below, bolehkah Anda berikan 2 ke 3 contoh kosakata yang bermakna dan berguna bagi kanak-kanak? You can please list down on the comments below.
Boleh buka mic dan beritahu, juga boleh pakai chat.
Apakah perkataan yang boleh yang berguna dan bermakna untuk kanak-kanak?
So saya bantu ya. Mungkinkah Pebi mau mulakan memberikan satu contoh perkataan yang sering digunakan dengan anak-anak di sana? Ya, ada? So dalam chat, susu mau buka. Those are good words. Okay. Sayyidah, are you listening?
Yes.
So you can write it down. They said susu mau
Okay.
buka.
Itu saja. Yes,
Lima.
family members.
Very good, Rizky.
Mama, papa.
Yes,
Boleh juga. Yes, mama is also acceptable.
good.
Anything more?
Let's move along.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Jadi, below are the core vocabulary examples, which ada some has been stated, seperti makan, minum, mama, papa, susu, dan mainan. Selepas ini saya akan memberikan activity ideas yang kamu boleh apply to your kids if you choose this core vocabulary approach. Because we don't want the kids to just practice it without any games, because that will be boring. So we want to try to make the activity as seronok, as fun, and as engaging as we can, so that the child will be more motivated untuk practice these words again and again and again. So the first activity idea is called burying objects or picture cards. Just like apa yang ada dalam gambar ini, the person bury the core vocabulary pictures dalam, I assume, is that kacang or beans, and then they just bury the pictures inside lah. And then what do we do with this? So firstly, we hide the objects or speech cards and beans and styrofoam pieces, and then we ask the child to find the cards. And after the child jumpa card tersebut, kamu boleh suruh anak itu untuk practice saying the word that you want them to practice. So for example, if the anak ambil this card, payung, so you can ask the child to say, oh, let's practice payung 5 times. Payung, 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 payung. And then selepas itu, after the child practice that, so which is called drilling, practice 5 times, you can move the card away and practice other core vocabulary words. Ask the child to find other cards and practice more. So that is the first idea. The next activity idea that you can do with core vocabulary approach is you can hide the picture cards. Anda boleh sorokkan picture cards tersebut in every corner of the room. And then you can ask the child to find the cards, and once the card is found, you can ask the child to practice saying the word again and again and again. So for example, if I hide the card mama and papa around different corners of the room, once the child jumpa card that says mama, you can ask the child to say, okay, let's practice saying mama, 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 mama. And then after the child is done practicing, you can ask the child to put it in the post box. So that is also another fun activity idea that we can do, so that we can do with the child. And then another activity ideas that we can do with a child is we can use visual memory game. Jadi we can prepare 6 pairs of 12 picture cards facing down, seperti ini, facing down. And then we take turn with the child to turn 1 pair of the card. And then, so I take turn first and then you go. So if the child successfully turn 1 pair of matching cards, so for example, if the child turns penguin and penguin together, you can ask the child to practice saying each word 5 times. Again, practicing penguin, 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 penguin. And then after that, you can remove the card away and continue with the other cards. So the one who match all the card first will win. So there is an element of game which can be more fun and motivating for the child to practice. Sebabnya practicing speech sounds can be quite hard and quite tiring. So to have activity ideas like this is quite beneficial to keep the child going and practice more and more speech sounds and words. So in this core vocabulary approach, the main strategies you can apply is using visual cues to support the child, such as using this, or you can help model the word to the child, and then the child will follow you. And you can encourage and motivate the child through positive feedback, like, oh, you can try again, keep going, or oh, I can hear that sounds right, keep going, keep practicing, begitu. So that is core vocabulary approach. It's very simple and there's no complications, no analysis, no anything. Easy to apply. And then the next one, I will be talking about phonological awareness. Jadi, phonological awareness is knowledge about sound structure of words. Jadi, sound structure of word include syllable dan phoneme. Then intervention with phonological awareness involve the child listening, thinking, and producing individual phoneme sounds in isolation dahulu. And you may use visual cues such as graphemes and sound symbol picture to support the child's understanding in these sounds. Jadi to approach phonological awareness therapy, we approach it using a hierarchy. So we start from dari bawah, dari yang paling senang, which is practicing phoneme in isolation. And then once the child masters phoneme in isolation, we can move on to blending and segmentation. In this presentation, I will focus on the first three, which is phoneme isolation, blending, and segmentation. So phonological awareness hierarchy. It is important for us to work on dari yang lebih mudah dahulu, supaya, which is the foundation, supaya once the child master the foundation, they can move on to a more difficult and complex skills. So it's a gradual step-by-step hierarchy. So firstly, in the case where the child is makes speech sound errors, for example, they lack in awareness of the sound k, k, k. Like they do fronting instead. They would say tereta instead of kereta. You can try this method, phonological awareness, phoneme isolation. So phoneme isolation, first phoneme. So it is the ability for the child to identify and say the initial phoneme in the words. For example, recognizing k in cat and k in car. Jadi now I want to test you in your understanding of initial phoneme. Write down your answers in the comment and I will ask one by one. So I will ask, what is the initial phoneme for spring? Spring.
Bunyi yang terawal bagi perkataan spring. Apa? Dwi, you wanna try? How about Lulu? Do you wanna try? Switch on your mic.
Maybe later.
Maybe later. Okay. So, untuk penjelasan lebih lanjut, aktiviti ini bertanya kepada yang hadir, okay? Untuk menyatakan bunyi apakah yang kamu dengar di awal perkataan. Okay? So, kita mula dengan perkataan spring. Nasha, you wanna try? Apakah bunyi di awal perkataan spring?
Is it
the sound of S.
Yes.
Spring.
Yes.
Yay.
Itu bunyi yang you dengar di awal perkataan. Sayyidah, try to stop changing your slide because everyone is looking at it.
Okay, sorry.
So, the next word is
Ngantuk.
ngantuk. Let's ask Juliana. Juliana, you want to give it a try? Apakah bunyi di awal perkataan ngantuk?
Ngantuk.
Ya, so perkataannya ngantuk. So, bunyi apa yang di awalnya? Very good. Good job. Well done. Next,
Next word, selipar.
selipar. Alfia, you want to try, Damas?
Yes, like us.
Yes, very good. Next,
Nyamuk.
let's ask Tengku Wezi. Wezi, you want to give it a try? Very good. Good job. And the last one,
Waktu.
Ervina, kamu mau coba? Ervina, kamu mau coba? Oh, mungkin tidak ada. Indah, kamu mau coba, Indah? Juga mungkin tidak ada. Dwi, can you switch on your mic? Do you think you want to try? Waktu.
Atu.
Ya, bunyi yang di awal. Yes, waktu. Good job. Next.
Jadi, next one, after anak itu sudah master bunyi awal dan dia aware of bunyi awal dalam perkataan tersebut, Anda boleh work on bunyi akhir dalam perkataan tersebut. Jadi, so phoneme isolation, final phoneme. It's the ability for the child to identify and say the final phoneme in words. Bunyi huruf yang terakhir dalam perkataan tersebut. Seperti dalam perkataan dog. Bunyi hurufnya adalah g, dog, g, pig, g. Jadi, the next step in this stage, you can expose the child to the perkataan, the words, dog, pig, and you can ask the child, apakah bunyi akhir dalam perkataan tersebut? Gah, 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 dog. And now it's your turn. Apakah bunyi huruf terakhir dalam perkataan bingung? Bingung.
Kiki, you wanna try, Kiki?
Yeah. Is it ang?
Yes, very good. Next.
Next word, wash.
Let's
Wash.
Hanifa, you wanna try? Well done. Next.
Taman.
Kak Pebi, you wanna try?
Ya, betul. Next one, catch.
Coba kalau Alfia Damasnya ada. Alfia atau Ervina ada?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
Apa perkataan yang Can you repeat, Sayyidah?
Bunyi huruf yang terakhir dalam perkataan catch.
Ch.
Betul.
Okay.
Dan yang terakhir, mobil.
Nasha, you want to give it a try?
Is it
Betul. Good job. So, next one. Selepas anak itu master dan dia dapat aware in bunyi huruf dalam awal dan akhir perkataan tersebut, you can move on to bunyi huruf yang di tengah. Jadi, it's called phoneme isolation, middle phoneme. Dan ini ada, and in this section, it is the ability for the child to identify and say the middle phoneme in the words. So the child dapat identify dan cakap apakah bunyi huruf yang di tengah perkataan itu. Jadi, for example, dalam perkataan cat dan dog, bunyi huruf yang tengah adalah O. And now it's your turn. Let's identify bunyi huruf yang di tengah dalam perkataan di bawah ini. Jadi, apakah bunyi huruf yang di tengah dalam perkataan bus? Bus.
Juliana, you want to try?
Yes.
Next.
And then pisang.
Hanifa, you want to try?
Challenging.
Yang di tengah, Hanifa. Try again, Sayyidah.
Pisang. Pisang. Apakah bunyi huruf yang di tengah?
Give her two choices.
Adakah bunyi huruf S ataupun bunyi huruf A?
This is a hard one.
Yes.
It could be either way. So you tell them.
Okay. Jadi, if it's difficult, we can try to break it down. Jadi, bunyi huruf dalam pisang adalah I, S, A, dan Jadi, bunyi huruf yang awal adalah I, P, dan bunyi huruf yang akhir adalah A, Ang. Jadi, bunyi huruf yang di tengah adalah S, Pi, Ang, pisang.
Next one.
Yang next one, tangan. Tangan. Apakah bunyi huruf yang di tengah dalam perkataan ini?
Maybe you want to give it a try? Oh, no mic. Next one, Sayyidah.
And then the next word, sit.
Let's try Indah. Indah, you want to give it a try?
I.
Betul. And the last word, lawan. Lawan.
Let's ask who wants to give it a try?
Can I try?
Yes, go Kiki.
Is it wah?
Yes. Wah. Okay. And then setelah anak itu master dalam mengetahui bunyi huruf mana yang awal, bunyi huruf mana yang akhir, dan bunyi huruf yang di tengah, you can move on to the next stage, which is called phoneme blending. So phoneme blending ini ialah apabila you put the sounds together to generate a word. Jadi kamu menemukan bunyi-bunyi huruf bersama-sama untuk menghasilkan perkataan. Jadi, in phoneme blending, we encourage the child to blend the sounds together. So, for example, we will ask the child, what word do these sounds make? I, g, I, g. And then we expect the child to answer with I, g, pig, pig. So that is phoneme blending. Blending all the sounds, bunyi-bunyi huruf together. Jadi in blending, what we can do to work on this skill is we can display a selection of consonant, vowel consonant picture cards to the child. Jadi we can start from CVC, karena itu adalah lebih simple. So, for example, consonant, vowel, consonant words are cat, rat, big, hop, and bun. So we prepare these picture cards, and then we choose one of the pictures and sound out the 3 phonemes that represent the picture. So, for example, if we have picture cards of these, we will take one of the picture card, for example, cat. Kita ambil gambar tersebut dan we sound each of the phonemes. K, a, t, k, a, t. And then we will ask the child to repeat the segmented sounds and then blend them to make a word. Jadi we will say k, a, t, cat, k, a, t, cat. And then we will ask the child, your turn. And then the child will have to repeat after you. K, a, t, cat. So when the child successfully repeat after you, the child successfully segment the sound and combine semua bunyi-bunyi huruf itu menjadi satu patah perkataan. Then you can give the child the picture and ask him to post it in the box supaya it can be more rewarding for the child and rewarding and motivating. So you can tell the child, oh, if you post more cards into this box, you will win the game. You will get a sticker or you can give any reward that you'd like to the child. And once the child master the phoneme blending, then we can move on to the next step, which is segmentation of syllables. So we're moving on from phoneme isolation to syllable word level. So segmentation of syllable means breaking apart a word into syllables. Jadi ini adalah syllable awareness. To be more aware that dalam satu patah perkataan itu ada syllable, ada patah perkataan itu ada syllable. Jadi for example, dalam kerusi ada 3 syllable, kerusi. And now it's your turn to identify how many syllables are there in this following word. Jadi, an activity that you can try, a fun activity that you can try with your child is you can try to ask the child to clap the number of syllables in the word. Jadi, for example, dalam the word kerusi, you can ask the child, oh, how many syllables are there dalam kerusi? And then the child will clap 3 times. Kerusi. Kerusi. So that the child will be more aware. 1 clap, 1 syllable. Kerusi.
For the first one, can Diana demonstrate, please?
Oh yes, sorry. Diana, can you clap your hands for this word? Kerusi.
Okay, so each syllable you give it a clap. Kerusi. That's 3 syllables, 3 claps.
Try meja.
Try meja. Okay. Meja. Meja. So that is 2 syllables.
Okay. Next one. Let's ask Swezi kalau mau.
Kereta. 3 syllables.
Nasha, you want to try the next one?
Pen.
Oh, Nasha's here. Indah, you want to try?
pen.
This one. No. Kiki, you want to try? Very good. I can't hear you, but I can see you. Next, Alfia.
Yes. What? Wait. Oh. Serigala.
Last one. Let's ask Juliana. Is she around? Juliana, are you there? Nasha, you want to give it a try?
Can see me?
It's okay. We see you again.
No.
Good job.
Yay.
So that is the activity that you can try with your child if you want to increase their awareness in syllables. And that is all for my presentation today. Thank you for listening and participating. If you have any questions, boleh let me know in the comment box.
Thank you Kak Sayyidah untuk presentasinya. Monggo silakan kalau ada yang ingin bertanya bisa ditulis di kolom komentar atau bisa langsung bertanya dengan nyalakan mic-nya. Silakan.
Can I ask question? Sayyidah, how about the phoneme blending?
Or
Yes,
phoneme
I-
blending.
Yeah. On what age children can do this phoneme blending? I mean, like they can read, so they can do this phoneme blending, or how we can introduce this?
Phoneme blending is
Like p, I, a pa, a p, I. Nah, this one. How we can introduce to kids?
it
What
depends
age?
at what age.
Oh, they need to read, can read first. So
It starts with them familiarizing with the phoneme first. So once they are familiar with the phoneme, like for example, the letter P stands for P, E stands for E, and G stands for G stands for G, then you can start doing phoneme blending with the child. So make sure that the child is aware of the bunyi huruf pada awal first, and bunyi huruf pada akhir dan bunyi huruf pada tengah-tengah, dan baru you can do phoneme blending.
So the earliest I have done this is probably 3.5 to 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, the earliest. They don't have to read. They just need to know the sound.
I see.
So the important one is we introduce the sound first and then we can spell the sound, right? Is that right?
If you say the sound and you put it together with the visual, and if they can put it together, then they can visually write it when they hear it, when they say it. But if it's only just listening, then they can sound it without writing it.
Okay. I see. Thank you, Kak Mila. Thank you, Sayyidah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mila, for the clarification.
Anyone else? Okay, kalau no questions is also good. It means that it was easy and clear. Yeah.
I have a question.
So Nasha,
What if the word, because some words have different stresses on the syllable, how would we demonstrate that then in a better way?
stresses. For example, stresses. You're talking about word stresses. For example, elephant.
Yes, or like doctor, not doctor.
So sad. Like, okay. When you are doing phonics or listening to phonics, okay, we don't focus more on stresses. So you're actually listening to the individual sound. So then you can identify what sounds you're making, what sound is involved in the word, so that you can say it. Stresses, on the other hand, are more inflection that someone introduces to their language, to their culture. So different culture will put on different stressor. So if you are a Filipino, your stressor would be different from if you are an Indonesian, your stressor would be different. But regardless of whether you're Indonesian or Filipino, the sound of the word remains the same. And that's what you're listening for. And that's the one that you are correcting. Does that make sense, Naisha?
Yes, it does. Thank you, because that's actually one of my problems. Thank you. Thank you, Kasaida. Thank you, Camila.
Anyone else? Okay. Maybe we can wrap up, Anita.
You can?
Anita, you are on mute. Do you want to
Sorry.
wrap up?
Halo Kak Mila. Ya Kak, my internet not really good. Sorry. Oke,
If no one has any other questions, we can stop here today. Okay, so thank you for participating. And then we will come up with another topic for the next one, inshallah, next month. But anybody in the group have any specific topic they want for next month? Because if you don't, I was thinking of doing a topic on introduction to autism. But if everyone is okay with that, we'll stick to it. But if everyone has something specific they want, let us know. And then maybe we can come up with something. Or maybe someone wants to present. Kiki, want to present? juga
Kak
boleh.
Mila. Halo Kak Mila.
Ya,
Sorry before not really joinful. Kak Mila, maybe for me, this topic is very often we get from the case in the kid. Maybe from me and maybe from my team, we will try to find out like the case based on this problem, based on the slide, and then maybe how if we plan like the 2D case like that based on this slide because this presentation. So after that, maybe if we case study more make us more understand because speech is very difficult, especially to us with the background from like psychology like
sure.
that. Maybe it's for me like that.
Boleh, boleh. So what I will do is we'll prepare a guideline for you so that you can do a case presentation. Okay, so kalau ada guideline, those are the information you will be sharing. So then we can present it together and then we can discuss it the next time. That's good. Sounds good
Yes.
to me.
Yes, Kak Mila, maybe is the first from me, and then the second, maybe like you said before, we can continue for the next material for the every month we schedule our schedule like that ya Kak Mila. I'm thank you so much ya for the share Kak Mila, Kak Sayyidah, especially it's very useful. Maybe sorry, I'm not really many asking question, but I think the discussion is still active today. Thank you too for Mbak Dwi, Kak Kiki. Ada anaknya yang cantik tuh. Nanti mungkin seperti yang tadi Kak Mila sampaikan, mungkin juga kita pengen dari Mbak Dwi atau Mbak Kiki sebagai juga yang sudah banyak menghandle kasus juga berbagi sharing karena kan nanti memang di Nusantara Sharing ini kan terutama memang dengan support dari Speckle, timnya Kak Mila, terus juga kita ada dari Smart Aurika juga. Ini ada Mbak Mia ya. Halo Mbak Mia, mewakili Bu Sari. Tadi Bu Sari kan juga bergabung sebagai owner dari SAS. Jadi ya pengennya nanti kita saling berbagi cerita. Mungkin kalau dari SAS bisa berbagi tentang konsep-konsep sekolah karena kan banyak juga ya Kak Mila orang tua yang pengen diberikan input-input untuk persiapan masuk sekolah. Jadi ya bisa jadi nanti kita bisa buat timeline mungkin ya Kak ya agenda-agenda sharing gitu yang bervariasi karena dua topik kan kita concern di speech ya dan itu memang topik yang bagi saya sulit gitu ya. Jadi harus banyak belajar.
Boleh.
Oke, gimana Mbak Dwi, Kak Kiki, Bu Mia, oke nggak kalau kita bertandem gitu?
Boleh.
Terima kasih. Tapi rasanya saya juga masih banyak harus berguru nih dengan timnya Kak Mila yang luar biasa hebat gitu ya. Eh saya senang loh diajak gitu kan karena memang buat saya yang menjadi speech therapist yang independen itu memang harus proaktif mencari eh, informasi dan keilmuan yang berkembang gitu ya melalui acara-acara seperti ini. Tapi sebenarnya tadi saya sorry tadi internetnya agak nge-lag jadi saya harus ganti device. Sebenarnya tadi masih ada yang saya mau tanyakan sama Sayyidah gitu kan, jika berkenan. Tapi takutnya waktunya terbatas gitu kan. Bagaimana Ibu Mbak Anita selaku moderator?
Nggak apa-apa, mungkin gimana Kak Mila masih ada bisa untuk
Silakan,
menjawab? Oke,
Sayyidah.
nggak apa-apa. Silahkan Mbak Dwi.
Ya, I'm so interested about the pattern of error ya. Can I see again the slide?
Wait, is it the consistent and inconsistent pattern of error?
The
Yes.
consistent one.
Sorry.
This one and this one.
Before before that. Yes.
Oh,
Okay. I'm so interested about pattern-based error. I remember about consonant of voice and voiceless because I'm working with children with hearing impairment gitu ya. So they always make the error in if sorry if they say about tutup become kukup. Yeah. So I remember about voice and voiceless if the error B become G or D. If the error in P become P or K.
The error apa lagi?
Ya, misal seperti ini. For example, tutup
Yeah.
become kukup ya. Kemudian gigi become didi. Ya. I want to ask about how to start to teach them if the error in this area starting the error if they say it or we need to teach about differentiate of the sound. Okay, thank you.
So, Sayyidah.
Okay, so one approach that I mentioned is the minimal pairs, which is to contrast the target sound tutup with kukup. So we need to make the child aware of the sound h dan k itu berbeza, tutup dan kukup berbeza. So it's good to use minimal pairs, list down a let me.
So what you want maybe Dwi is to have a paper, and on that paper you have two images. Satu tutup pintu, satu a monster. Okay. So kalau dia cakap kukup, you go, you want a monster? No, we don't want a monster. Try again, try again. And then you get him to say tutup. So kalau dia bilang tutup, you go like, oh, come on, we tutup then. Tutup the box. Tutup the door. So in having visual with minimal pairs actually helps because sometimes they cannot hear what they say is wrong. So having visual to represent it's correct or wrong helps them to realize the sound that they make is wrong. Itu kaedah satu. A different type, Sayyidah?
Boleh guna phonological awareness. So kaedah phonological awareness, we can do
specific activity that can do.
Specific activity is to do activities related to phoneme isolation. First phoneme, identifying the differences between t dan k. Jadi mula-mula kamu boleh list down words that starts with t and words that starts with k, and then kamu boleh tanya, oh topi, ini perkataan ini sebutan hurufnya t atau k, begitu. Jadi ya boleh membantu anak itu untuk increase awareness that the topi is t, not k. Is that right? Yeah.
Before that is you want to introduce the sound t and you want to introduce the sound k. So you tell the child t is the pine, is belakang. Kamu dengar di mana? Di depan atau di belakang? Oh, kamu lagi. You take turn. Kamu bilang apa? And then kalau dia cakap then you go like, I heard sebab mungkin they meant it at the back. Again, having visual cards showing and and everyone take turns, then it's good for the child and they cannot lie also because of the visual representation. So that's a good one. After that, baru you go into Saidah's activity. Listen. What is the sound what's the first sound in this word? Listen, can you say the same? Bunyi di depan. Always remind them where the sound is coming from. Bunyi di depan, bunyi di belakang. Kamu dengar dulu. Kamu ulangin. Kamu sendiri deh. So you can play along with that. But that takes time. So what I'm doing is probably would take at least a couple of weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, because it's not easy. Because first awareness is important. Does that help, Dwi?
Halo Mbak Dwi,
I
mungkin
think
ada yang mau
that
ditanyakan
is
Mbak?
gone. The internet's gone. That's okay.
Mbak, oke.
Okay,
Mbak
Dwi.
Dwi, oh ya.
Yes, terima kasih. Thank you so much, Kak Mila and Kak Sayyidah. We need to give the lot of strategi ya. Ya,
Ya,
thank you. Terima kasih. Mudah-mudahan menjadi diskusi kita lagi nih di grup berlanjut ya, karena ini adalah tentang bagaimana kita menghandle, dan ketika menghandle itu akan bertemu sebuah masalah, dan
betul.
kalau kita ada teman diskusi kan selalu ada solusi gitu ya dengan diskusi gini, karena akan ada insight dari teman-teman yang mungkin saya belum pernah dapatkan gitu. Oke, terima kasih Kamila, Kak Saida.
Iya Mbak Dwi, jadi tadi ada diskusi kita melanjutkan materi yang ini, kita mau ngumpulin kasus-kasus yang seperti ini nanti kita bisa bahas bersama ya. Jadi kan dari dapat teori nanti kita praktekkan ke kasus seperti itu yang dialami di lapangan. Jadi biar makin membekas nih gitu. Oke, terima kasih. Sorry, maybe is in Brunei is almost maghrib ya, 5:30.
1 hour.
Thank you so much. Maybe we can take a picture before we say goodbye. We forget to take a picture.
Saida, you wanna go to the first slide?
Jejaknya.
Okay, who take a picture? Okay.
And then, Diana, you wanna try to take a picture too?
Yeah, sorry, sorry Kak, I move my background first. I forget.
Okay,
Okay.
ready?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. One more, 1, 2, 3. Good.
Thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak untuk Kak Sayyidah untuk menyiapkan materi, Kak Mila yang sakit masih membantu memberikan penjelasan, juga Kak Dayana dan pastinya teman-teman yang lain di Indonesia.
Thank
Semangat
you.
terus, sampai ketemu lagi di acara selanjutnya ya di Nusantara
Insya Allah.
Sharing.
Jumpa lagi.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam.